Yo, man, can you see the mics, man?
Welcome to Norse Code, the number one podcast for your Minnesota Vikings. I'm your host producer. My name is James Mosqueda. Thank you guys so much for listening. And at the other end of the tin cannon string, we have our analyst and co-host. You know him from numerous blogs and podcasts around the internet, most notably from the Wide Left Substack. He is Mr. Useful Human, Arif Hassan. Arif, I'd like to... last episode, I had you rank a couple things. This time, it's just going to be between two things. The question is, which broke your day more? Watching the interception to end the Thursday night game, or Justis texting you the moment the game ended to say, hey, want to record?
I lost probably $400 on that interception, and it is 100% Justis. Not close.
100%. It's 100% Justis. Also on the call, we have Justis Mosqueda, the least valuable player in podcast history. And Justis, I just want to say thank you for coming on and ruining Arif's night and potentially mine with all the tech problems we've had since you've come on.
Yeah, good morning, folks.
Good morning. God, you piece. Oh, my God.
How'd this game go? Saw the Texans won. Their defense is pretty good usually.
Yeah, no, that's what happened. The defense was pretty outstanding.
It was enough to just take money right out of Arif's pocket. It was great.
Yeah.
Call the number, Arif.
Actually, yes. This, if you're betting on the Thursday
it's
night
not
game.
Gambling. They're games of skill. That's what the law says. Yeah, Justis, how you doing? Feeling well rested?
Definitely well rested. Some are arguing too well rested, but we're here to talk about 9, dude. Stop this stuff.
Is that the number of hours you slept?
No, it was under that.
But not by much.
Not by much.
We're gonna have Justis on to preview the Packers game for this weekend. Hopefully, you're in for a treat. We're hoping that nothing breaks. We've had a couple of issues so far with Justis's computer just not wanting to play nice with our recording stuff, so we'll see how this goes. But before we start, thank you guys so much for listening to Norse Code. If you'd like to help us out financially, there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can go over to patreon.com/NorseCode for $3.50 a month, or a little less for the year subscription. You get access to the bonus episodes, you get access to the Discord, all of that. We just put out a new bonus episode about a week ago, so check that out. You can also go to also a special thank you to Mason Spree for signing up over on Patreon. You can also go to paypal.me/NorseCode as well for a one-time donation, or you can go to norsecode.threadless.com for any number of wonderful pieces of Norse Code merchandise. I'm going fast because I don't know if Justis's computer is going to let this happen. So we're going to get right to the interview right now. We have Justis Mosqueda on the line, and he is going to talk a bunch of crap about our quarterback and try to ignore the first home losing streak the Packers have had in years. Justis, welcome back to the show. Arif, let him have it.
Justis, how in the world did you not charge your phone before you went to bed?
Well, it wasn't bed, it was couch. First of all, how dare you?
Okay, yeah, and why didn't you charge your phone?
That's a good question.
Cool, dope, cool. Hey, so
why we're starting? We're not asking no Packers questions. He teed you up for
okay,
home losing streak. Come on,
no, hold on. So why has the Packers offense been bad for 3 consecutive weeks? What's up with that?
This last week was drops,
right?
I don't. Yeah, okay.
Jordan Love ranks like 20th in drop rate right now. It's not a big issue holistically.
Over the course of the year, correct.
Yes.
This past game, well, really the Eagles game too, is a little different. Their run game is not good. You're going to be shocked. And Matt LaFleur...
It's a pretty run-dominant offense.
Yes. And guess what Matt LaFleur really wants to do? They built this whole offensive line, right? Because, I mean, Vikings fans who listen to you will know like the Packers' whole thing, other than draft a quarterback, always have a quarterback, right?
Mhm.
Has been, hey, we can kind of like find these undersized offensive line gems like in day 3, right? That's why you guys see like a David Bakhtiari, Joshson,
Justin,
JC
yeah.
Treader, like all these guys, right? What's happened really since 22 or 23 was the Packers were like, look, we keep getting pushed around by these teams like the San Francisco 49ers and stuff like that in the playoffs. What we need to do is we need to get big on the offensive line. And they've completely sort of worn the edges away of that like market inefficiency that they had of getting small offensive linemen. Everyone that they brought in over like the last 2 years is like 330 pounds now.
Except for their best offensive lineman, Zach Tom.
Well, he was brought in like 4 years ago before this change. So they got all these big boys, and they still can't run the ball. But they've actively tried to.
Wait, is that why they signed Aaron Banks?
Buddy, I think that and scheme fit is why they signed Aaron Banks. Yeah, it's not a good contract right now. I know PFF has like. I think he had like a 90-something grade against the New York Giants. But again, the New York Giants are the worst run defense in the NFL by like almost a historical margin, right? Even I was like, I would have expected a little bit more from this team. So what is happening right now is defenses are sitting in too high shells against the Green Bay Packers, and they're just letting them run the ball. And then they're like, eventually you're going to get into a third down, and you can't hit every single one of these things, right? So that really started with Jim Schwartz with the Cleveland Browns game when the Browns were able to beat the Packers. Jim Schwartz is this hyper aggressive defensive coordinator.
Who has experience playing the Packers.
Buddy, he's been a defensive play caller for like 25 years, right?
Well, yeah, but he's also like in the division specifically. He has a lot of experience playing against the Packers.
But he's had 25 years of experience. That Green Bay Packers game featured his defenses being called out of split safety coverages, the second highest rate in his NFL career, right? So that kind of laid the blueprint. And then we had the Steelers game where they very much tried to do that too. But Tucker Kraft ends up getting like 180 yards off of yards after catch in that one.
What happened to him?
Yeah, the very next game, he goes down with the ACL tear. And then guess what starts happening? The Carolina Panthers sit in split safety coverage. Packers can't score against the Carolina Panthers. The Philadelphia Eagles sit in split safety coverage. The Packers can't score against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants is a little bit of a different story. They kind of changed up some of what they did. Basically, so Tucker Kraft, I think still right now, has half of the wide receiver and tight ends yak yards. Yeah, and he hasn't played in 2 weeks.
Jesus.
And he's a tight end, right? So we can't throw into the flats because we're not getting any yak yards. Throwing over the ball specifically, like in the short, the short range, which was going to be the Packers' answer against the Philadelphia Eagles, that got stopped because the Eagles are so good at batting down passes at defensive tackle. I know anyone who watched that Lions-Eagles game can kind of understand how good those guys are up front at that. The intermediate range on the inside has kind of been taken away because everyone is just bailing. So like, if you want to run a dig, the linebackers are booting out, 10 yards of depth trying to take away that dig. So what's really open is over the ball. And again, the Philadelphia Eagles stop that. And then all the deep zones are being exhausted. So what LaFleur had to do in the last game was actually throw like intermediate outside breakers, right? Like those deep outs, short corners, stuff like that, which is not really what he wants to do. He wants to just like man ball, run game, just like straight blocks down the middle. We're not running outside zone, anything fancy like that. The biggest outside play you're probably going to get is like a Savion Williams jet sweep or like a counter play, right? And then in the passing game, he really wants to just like throw digs over the middle and stuff. And he had to change that up because after the Panthers and Eagles game, it was obvious teams were just giving up the outside intermediate. And it's not like it's something that Jordan Love has even been poor at. It's just something that Matt doesn't necessarily like. So they kind of changed that up last week and got some production off of that. But wide receivers still had drops. And again, we were able to run the ball a little bit against the Giants, but like historically bad run defense. And I don't think that matters moving forward.
Is Josh Jacobs going to play? He was like limited. And well, I don't know if you saw the practice report. I sent it to you.
Shut the up. All right. Yes, I saw. Matt in the pre-practice presser was like, we don't know how much that he's going to go. We'll probably get more info on that on Friday. But he at minimum did individual drills today. I guess I have to say that today is Thursday. Was the Packers padded practice for this week. Josh Jacobs did not participate on Wednesday. I think he's probably going to go. So what Jacobs had was a knee contusion, so a bruise.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of comments about the MetLife turf by his teammates after the game. They don't seem to like it. They don't seem to like the surface. Can you believe that?
Crazy. I thought it was only losers who complained about playing surfaces, if I recall, from a couple years ago.
Well, if you guys get the damn right cleats on, tell the wide receivers to stop wearing the molded cleats. The Lambeau Field surface, you will slip. We will slip. But at least we're wearing the 6 studs.
Hey, man, you just got to prepare for the surface. That's, I think we agree on that. I don't know why you would complain about the surface.
I think Will Brinson, one of our backup defensive tackles, just posted a picture of him walking out the tunnel and said, I can't find the exact, I don't remember what the exact quote is. I can't find it. I will not be finding it. It was basically like, enjoyed my first game played on concrete. So I don't know. And he's a rookie, by the way. He's one of those Georgia guys. So yeah, I don't know how much you can prepare for concrete unless you put on a whole lot of athletic tape.
I mean, do you remember Brett Favre's last game, TCF Bank Stadium against the Bears? Before the game, Chris Cluey was like, "This is going to be a game played on concrete because it's a college stadium that did not have warming coils installed underneath."
Yeah.
So hey, we all got to play on concrete sometimes, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll happen.
Okay, so you should understand when Toyotathon starts, right?
Yes,
has it started yet? Is it? Yeah, okay.
It has started. There was a much debate. So the way I had to figure out when Toyotathon actually starts is by like regional Toyota web pages.
Mm-hmm.
And we found enough that it was like, yeah, it either started the 18th or the 19th because Tyler Brook for us wanted to write a Toyotathon thing last week post game and was like, Toyotathon has started. Love played basically like a perfect game. His wide receivers let him down. And then I did the next step of research and was like, Toyotathon actually starts next week.
Okay, so, yeah, because the Toyotathon stuff was about his production, so it kind of doesn't matter. So that wouldn't that's not part of the narrative. The wide receivers will stop dropping passes during Toyotathon, I think.
Hey, man, if you want to put that out there, great.
Look, I'm just saying that's done. The narrative is production, right? It has nothing to do with wide receiver drops or PFF grade. I've never seen a Toyotathon PFF grade.
That is fair. Jordan plays good. Jordan plays good down the stretch. Really, what it is what was it? 2 years ago. That's when Jordan Love actually started looking good. And it was like, oh, okay, yes, this is going to be our quarterback. It was the second half of the season after either the Chargers or Steelers game. I can't remember which one it was. But
so he has an 83 passer rating outside of Toyotathon and a 110 passer rating inside of it?
Dude, teams figured us out before Matt started throwing those outside breakers against the Giants. I was legit worried. Man. But we'll see what this week looks like. I mean, again, with a banged up Josh Jacobs and you're not getting the New York Giants run defense, I'm definitely more worried.
Who is on the offensive line right now? Because there's 3 injuries?
There's only one. There's only Elton right now.
Oh, okay.
But so left tackle, it's going to be Rasheed Walker. Left guard, it's going to be Aaron Banks. Again, right. Banks coming off his best game of the season, but has been very bad up until that point. Sean Ryan, who was rotating in at right guard because the Packers do that, is now playing center for us. At right guard, we're having Jordan Morgan full-time, even though he probably should be a tackle, but you can't really have a tackle when you want a comp pick from Rasheed Walker, and you just extended Zach Tom, and then Zach Tom is at right tackle.
Wait, are you suggesting they're playing Rasheed Walker so that he'll get signed in the next offseason to get a comp pick 2 years from now?
Kind of. They said that they were going to rotate at left tackle, not at guard coming into the year. And then I don't know what exactly is going on. I mean, maybe it would have been a situation where Rasheed Walker would have been like, well, if you're going to rotate me, then just send me out. Like a very average offensive tackles are going to make $20 million per year. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I could
and
understand.
He is, I would argue, very average.
Very average. Very average. Which is why they're not going to pay him and why they paid Zach Tom. Right.
Right. Okay. That makes sorry, that's such a crazy thing. It's like we gotta play this guy so that 2 years from now we can get a 4th round pick.
Buddy, welcome to the Green Bay Packers. Draft and develop. Protect the comp picks. Like this next offseason, we're not gonna do anything. And I know Packers fans are now coming to the realization of that when one of our reporters had a source article where he basically like laid out like what the market is going to be for the Packers upcoming free agents, and Packers fans slowly realize like, oh my God, we're just going to eat comp picks and we're not going to go into free agency next year. And it's like, yes. The window is this year and then a second push in 2027. That is sort of how this thing is going to work out.
So what is Jordan Love just going to die in the middle? Like, how does that?
I hope not. But hey, man, we got 2 picks in the top 120 selections in next year's draft. So
that's so
let's
cool.
hope we hit on both of those. Yeah. No. Here's a funny thing. This did not pass the sniff test to me, by the way, and I'm somehow the only person in Packers media not buying it. And I want you to know that because I am not this gullible. Okay. I know you're not going to fall for this.
Okay.
MetLife, like swirling winds there. Right. It's a weird stadium to play in.
Yeah. The north-south orientation screws with it. Yeah, I get it.
So they made the argument that the winds were impacting the shotgun snaps from Sean Ryan.
The shotgun snaps?
Arif? I'm letting you know.
I know you don't believe this. I know you don't believe this, but how can other people believe this?
So the reason I think other people believe it is because both of the kickers who were backup kickers, it was Young Wei Koo against Lucas Haversick.
Like Haversick, yeah. Haversick got the lowest number of points in Hell League that week. So I recall.
So both of them are missing kicks. And then our long snapper, Daniel Whalen, had 2 bad snaps too. So then everyone is like, well, I must have been the win then.
I would suggest that a 60-yard kick and even a 7-yard snap is different than a 4-yard snap.
Yes, a Matt Orzic long snap and a Sean Ryan shotgun snap is very different. Mind you, Sean Ryan, I think this was the first start he's ever had at the center position.
Oh, he's like Blake Brandel.
So he never even played it in college, right?
Oh, he's exactly like Blake Brandel, who had never played it in high school or college or the NFL, and then the Vikings were like, well, here you go. It's the Browns.
So it's like a non-narrative coming into this game if we're talking about the offensive line, like no one's worried about Sean Ryan snaps. That was just a win. I am still very worried.
That sounds catastrophic, dude.
I am still worried.
Okay, well, if people are like kind of switching positions around, like Zach Tom moves to center, Jordan Morgan appears to be a guard. The Vikings do a ton of sim pressures, and I don't know if you've heard, they do like to blitz a little bit. Is communication going to be an issue?
So it didn't seem like there were too many There was only like 2 blown ones, I think, from like a communication standpoint on film last week. I think what you're going to see to help, because again, Tucker Kraft is out, right? Like Luke Musgrave isn't going to block anyone.
Because Tucker Kraft is out, and then the second best tight end, Ben Sims, is a Viking now. And
second best. He was our fourth tight end all year. How dare you?
he was the
John
second
Fitzpatrick.
best. And then Luke Musgrave got benched for some guy named John Fitzpatrick. Tell me about who's John Fitzpatrick actually?
So John Fitzpatrick was the tight end when they had Bowers and they had Darnell Washington, and he was like their blocking inline tight end at Georgia. And that's kind of
I
the
feel
role
like
that
I've
he
learned
fills
about
here.
so many Georgia tight ends, and I've never learned about this guy.
The Packers had him on a pre-draft visit, so like I always knew that they were interested in him. They ended up picking him off of a practice squad last year. Wiley is like our 6'6" fullback now, like little movement skill guy out of the backfield. He's going to be the guy who probably gets any yak yards if there's any yak yards to be had if he runs into the flat, stuff like that.
Does the fan base like scream a slur whenever he gets the ball, like in previous fullbacks?
I don't think. I mean, they do the Luke for Musgrave right now.
Okay, so they're
but no,
they're shouted out for white skill players then.
For Musgrave, like we're not at a lack of white skill players, but Musgrave is the only one who gets the chant, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, but what's going to happen? The guy who's going to actually help in protection is Chris Brooks, who like for his role, like a very good blocking back, like looks like a guard a lot of the times. If you guys go find the Savion Williams shot play, I think it was like a 22-yarder, like puts up like a clinic worthy effort on that one. And then against the Detroit Lions earlier this year when the Lions were blitzing like crazy, I mean, he's picking up like defensive tackles off of like twists and just like anchoring on them. It's like
that's nuts. His
pretty
official
just like weird to
listed
watch.
weight. His official listed weight is 219. Is that a lie? Is it like Darnell? Is it like Darnell Washington?
No, it's not as crazy as Darnell Washington. Dude, I was mad in real life that Darnell Washington said he was 3'11", and I was like, dude, he could have been a Packer. Because my dream that whole year was Darnell Williams, Darnell Washington, Darnell Wright in the first two rounds, and we still could have had Kraft too. Kraft was my, I think, third tight end in that draft. So like we could have done the thing and we didn't do the thing.
Do we think Chris Collinsworth, right? Was right that the Steelers were going to make Washington a tackle until Aaron Rodgers said no?
Did Collinsworth say that? So like I usually watch games on mute, to be honest. So
yeah, it was like a thing, and then I think it was Collinsworth, and then after the game, a couple of days after the game, Aaron Rodgers was like, "I have no idea where he got that. That's not true at all." But I can't trust Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah, I don't think Aaron would admit his influence over personnel.
Okay,
because like the only time it's really been like come up for sure was when we made the trade for Randall Cobb, and Goot went into the presser because he had to do a presser because they made a trade, and Goot was like, I want it on record, I absolutely would not have made this trade if Aaron didn't make it. Like almost word for word said that.
But Aaron Rodgers is like ticked off about Kumaro, right? Like that's canon.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he was definitely mad about Kumaro.
All right. Why don't the Packers do that much play action if they run the ball so often?
Because it's like 3rd and 10. Because we ran a
on
2nd and 8.
All right, that's fair, I guess. I don't know. It's just like because Love's numbers in play action are outstanding. And they just don't do it.
Dude, he will take shots. He is not afraid. Like, yeah, I mean, I think some Packers fans get mad about the over aggression sometimes because they're just used to Aaron, who's just a robot, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like when he does and doesn't take shot plays. But Jordan is like, Jordan is the Kobe stand, right? And I have to like keep reminding people who are off of the West Coast, like what Kobe stands are even like. And they're like, no, I have done the math. I understand the risk. It's time to hero ball. Like Christian Watson is down there somewhere and I trust him to come down with this ball, even though it's like a 50-50 proposition whenever you throw those things up.
And it's Christian Watson, so like odds are he might
Christian
even get
did
hurt.
well. Hey, man, of the receivers last week, Christian did well. So
yeah, let's talk about the receivers. So the whole thing about the receivers, I think, was last year was how often they dropped the ball, especially I think Dontavian Wicks, right?
yes,
And I think Romeo Dubs a little bit. And then this year, about average in terms of drop rate, except obviously you mentioned this last game. What is different?
I don't. Well, Wicks has been better in terms of the drops. I would
Mhm.
say that that's different. Really, I mean, it's just Romeo had a bad game. I mean, that really killed him. Romeo had the Packers had some drops over the middle against the Philadelphia Eagles too, and then Romeo dropped a touchdown in the Carolina Panthers game. So when they're getting played in tight quarters, I think there's still some of these drop issues with these guys, but for the most part, they've been facing these spot drop zone defenses, and you just kind of settle into a hole in the defense, and they're able to catch it there. So I don't think that too much has changed, other than Wicks is always like an even year, odd year guy, right? Like the odd years, no issues with the hands. The even years, like we probably shouldn't even have him on the roster. And this has gone back to his college days at Virginia. Like that's always been sort of like it oscillates on a year by year basis. It's very frustrating, but this is a good Wicks year. The outside receivers for sure are going to be Dobbs and Watson. And then for now, at least until Jaden Reed comes back, the slot kind of gets split up between Matthew Golden, Dontavian Wicks, and then those guys both rotate in at outside receiver.
Is Reed the best receiver?
He is what the Packers need. I don't know if he is the best. I kind of think Christian's been their best receiver since he's come back, but
Jesus.
obviously it's a smaller sample size. Reed is the receiver that they need because he's the yak yard guy.
Yeah.
Right. They tried to manufacture some stuff with Matthew Golden, and then he got tackled by a guy much larger than him and ended up hurting his shoulder. Right. So probably stop doing that. Golden is a little bit too small for this thing. Jaden Reed at least is a little bit thicker.
So Savion Williams, right? Isn't he returns? He should theoretically be good at yak.
All right. So here's the fun thing about Savion.
Yeah.
If you look at a like touches per snap right now, and I updated this to before last week, so I don't know what it looks like this week.
Sure. Yeah, that makes perfect sense that you would do that.
Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith and Jigba are the only receivers in the NFL who touch the ball as frequently as Savion when he's on the field. Like they feed him like he's like an all-pro. Last week he got one offensive snap before the kneel downs, and he caught like a 22-yarder. Like if you see 83 on the field and it's offense, he's getting the ball. You guys better understand. They've created some sort of scheme where he's getting the ball. Has it been successful throughout the year? No, the yards per touch, it's not great. But if he's on the field, he's getting the ball. He's also returning kicks for us. Teams are now kicking to the other returner instead of Savion right now. It's not like Savion's really even like broken one of those, but I think people are just afraid that he's going to at some point because he is a very large man who runs very quickly. He's been dealing with this foot injury. Last week, he was seen in a walking boot coming off of the Packers bus going into the Giants game. And after the game, Matt was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's like a weekly thing. Like he's just like in a walking boot and then just returning kicks for us. Like,
He just does that.
yeah, he's like it's a pain management thing for sure, but he has a high pain tolerance. So yeah, that's where we're at with Savion.
What? Okay, why isn't Keyshawn? Is it just because Keyshawn Nixon's a starter now? Like I feel like that's the guy you would want to return.
Buddy, I don't know, because we've had issues at punt returner.
Yeah.
And Keyshawn's only gotten a couple of those, and it's Romeo Dobbs out there right now. I just think Keyshawn in his head is like, I want to be the best cornerback in the NFL, and best cornerbacks in the NFL do not return. So
okay, but he's like an outstanding, like he knows that, right?
Arif? Arif, dude, I am so aware. I am so aware. Like if this team could just play the right players in the right position, we would be so much better right now. But no, it is. I think part of it on kick return too is, I think that they want to justify Savion Williams' roster spot because if he's not returning kicks, then he's like your like fourth string slot receiver.
Yeah, there's 7 receivers on the.
plays.
Well, if we count Bo Melton, there's 7 receivers on the roster. So
Right, and Jaden Reed is about to come back too. So yeah.
all right. Is there anything else on the offense we should talk about?
Oh, we should probably at least say Emmanuel Wilson's name.
Yeah, okay. I love Emmanuel
Starts at
Wilson,
running back.
actually. No, that's a good point. I love Emmanuel Wilson. Outstanding preseason performer 2 years ago, has been, in my opinion, last year anyway, was pretty good when he actually got the ball. But there's like a crazy touch ratio for Jacobs versus Wilson.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Jacobs is playing when Jacobs is healthy because he dealt with this calf injury like midway through, I guess, this part of the season. Outside of that, like Jacobs is taking like damn near every carry, right? So this is about to be Emmanuel Wilson's first start in his NFL career. He looked okay in extended work against the Giants. There are far too many, if you can believe it, far too many people reacting too strongly to what we did against the Giants and are now wondering like, wait, is Josh Jacobs actually even any good? And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me right now?
Jacobs good?
Yes.
Yeah, the gap in terms of EPA allowed in run defense between the Giants and the next worst team is significant.
Yes.
Justice was not lying in terms of Giants run defense production. It is
No, they're historically bad.
which is nuts because they have Dexter Lawrence.
They have Dexter Lawrence and then like 3 first round pass rushers on the edge, but they're all pass rushers.
They're all pass rushers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, Dexter Lawrence, the truth. Everyone else on that Giants front in run defense, buns, dude. Buns.
Yeah, so Emmanuel Wilson, pretty fast. Kind of huge for a fast guy, I think.
Yeah, and I think he's gained some weight. Like I think he's probably up to like the 220-ish range that, you know, all the other running backs in the Packers stable are right now. And we didn't get Marshawn Lloyd called up. That was something that we thought could have been a possibility. So if Josh Jacobs is out, it's probably going to be Pierre Strong Jr. Coming up from the practice squad.
So you're replacing one South Dakota guy with another. Well, South Dakota State. That's all right.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pierre Strong is probably like second on the team in carries or something in this game too, because I don't think that they actually want to give Brooks that many touches. They just want him out there to like block people, which to be fair, he's very good at that. So I don't complain about it.
All right. Now we can talk about something you'll enjoy talking about, which is the defense.
Micah Parsons, baby, dude. He is everything that we wanted him to be.
So mad, dude.
If we didn't have him, we're like 2-7 right now. It goes so poorly if we don't make that move. So we needed to make that trade, but not for the reasons that they thought.
Instead of putting you over the edge, it put you in contention.
Yes. Very much so.
All right, man. There were like Cowboys fans coping too about like, you know, Micah Parsons hasn't done anything this year, and
he's closed out like 4 of our wins.
He's so good, dude. It's obnoxious. He's second in the league in next gen stats pressures, despite playing 1 fewer game than Will Anderson, who just leapt into the lead after this. You should have seen this game, dude. They had Spencer Brown out there with half an arm, and Will Anderson ate his lunch. It was a massacre. Josh Allen got hurt twice in the game.
Oh,
yeah, that actually happened.
Like the backup had to come? Who's the Bills' backup?
No, they just shot him up with painkillers, so he didn't miss a snap.
Vitamin T, baby.
He was Brett Favre it out there, man. He's gonna have bruises that are swelling to the size of grapefruits tomorrow morning. And I think a broken hand, if I'm being honest. He's in a rough. It's bad. Anyway, Micah Parsons is second in total pressures, first in pressures per game. His pressure rate is like third in next gen stats. And I don't know. I don't know. Describe him. I'm mad.
He's so fast, dude. He's so fast and so violent. It's great. And like last week, the Giants, like first play of the game, they run the ball at him. He ends up getting like a TFL on the play. Like,
well, no. I was told he was bad at defending the run.
oh yeah, Cowboys fans love to say that. By the way, if you look at like the Giants run ranking, like right behind them is the Dallas Cowboys right now. So how's that going, Jerry? The bozos. Maybe don't play like 200-pound linebackers. Maybe that was your issue in the run game and not Micah Parsons. Bozos.
Well, I mean, the last time they had any talented 230-plus pound linebackers, they all got hurt and retired early.
Yeah, like Vander Esch and all those guys.
Yeah.
No, Micah Parsons is the truth. We'll see if LVN plays in this game. LVN plays on the edge and kicks inside, and what they're... Oh, Arif, you don't even know about the cheetah packages. You don't even know about the cheetah packages.
What are the cheetah packages?
That's what the Packers call it when they get 3 defensive ends on the field at the same time. And
so it's just one minus NASCAR?
Yeah, it's just a defensive end playing defensive tackle. That's all it is.
And what? That's often Lucas Van Ness.
So when Van Ness has been healthy, it's been him. When he hasn't, it's been Micah Parsons just getting to like roam around near the center and blitzing from there. Is kind of how it ends up working out. But the Packers have gotten like nothing out of Kingsley Enigbar and Rashawn Gary in the pass rush game. They've both been.
I was told Rashawn Gary broke out like 2 years ago, though. What's up with that?
Did, and then he had an injury, and he hasn't been the same since. Hey, we timed it up perfect. Did great. Contract year. Gave him the contract. Then he got hurt. Now he hasn't been the same. Oops.
You gotta love a good hustle, dude.
Yeah. It's not been good. It doesn't help that every team tries to get everything out so quickly on the Packers right now too. So like even Jameis this past game, I think he had 2.5 seconds like time to throw. Like everything is just coming out quickly, and Jameis Winston is the hold the ball, throw it up, king of the NFL.
Yeah,
like the guy threw 30 interceptions once. He tried to throw 30 in the Packers game.
I know one quarterback who holds the ball longer than Jameis. Anyway. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Who's replaced Kenny Clark?
Colby Wooden, who, if you look at like his roster page, he's probably listed in the 270s, but he has definitely gained weight. He's probably around 300 is the truth. But him, Carl Brooks, Devontae Wyatt are the primary 3-man rotation.
And Brooks was on the injury report, right? He was DNP.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got hurt in the Giants game and has been DNP the first 2 practices of this week. We'll see what happens. The Packers have carried 5 defensive tackles on the 53-man roster throughout the year. They actually started with 6 before the Kenny Clark trade. And then for the last couple of games, they've actually had all 5 defensive tackles active. So you're probably going to see a little bit of a Nasir Stackhouse, who, by the way, his nickname is Big Sleepy because he does have narcolepsy. So,
I do. I know someone I could call Big Sleepy.
he is a human Snorlax.
He actually has narcolepsy, and they gave him the name Big Sleepy.
Yes,
that's correct. Incredible, dude.
Correct. And then Warren
Brinson. What that means that he has a dispensation from the league to take Adderall.
I don't know that.
It's a common prescription for narcolepsy.
If he likes that, good for him.
I'm just saying that's fantastic for him.
So yeah, that's what our defensive tackle room looks like right now. For the most part, we just play 2 defensive tackles. We'll play a bunch more if we get into goal line situations. And then against the Philadelphia Eagles, they broke out a 3-4 package with 3 defensive tackles on the field at the same time. And we only did it for that last drive against the Eagles, where I think they ran the ball 3 times for 4 yards And then they had that like weird fourth down decision where like they just could have like kicked the field goal or punted.
Oh yeah.
And they decided to throw it up and give the Packers a shot at the end.
Yeah, that was. I did have the AJ Brown over, so I did appreciate that a little bit. But just maybe don't do that one specifically. All right. Tell me a little bit about Devontae Wyatt.
So he has been a very good pressure guy in his NFL career, but then he suffered a knee injury in about midway through this season, has come back and hasn't been the same type of guy. So maybe, hey, finally in week 12, he's going to be fully healthy and get after the quarterback and stuff like that. But he hasn't been the same guy in the past couple of weeks. So,
I mean, he's a guy who started out pretty slow. I mean, started out slow. He didn't get any snaps.
It was always like lower snap count, but like very, very, very high efficiency for his pass rushing stuff. And then as a run game guy, he's been like average, I would say.
All right. Well, now we can talk about. So Edgerrin Cooper is demonic. That seems to be still true. Carried over from last year. Who is Quay Walker's not playing, right?
We don't know that. He has a stinger.
He'll be fine then. Who
he has
would
a stinger?
Play?
So the sub for him would be Isaiah McDuffie, who is typically the Packers' third linebacker. So like if you guys use multiple tight end sets and stuff like that, he'll be on the field. The guy who replaces Duffy would be Tyron Hopper, who the team took in the third round. I thought this kid had like no chance coming out of Missouri. He was like this athlete, didn't really have it put together. But then this past preseason, like looked like he was maybe the best linebacker on the team. Like really took the next step. And in limited snaps, he's been playing pretty well for the Packers this regular season. So I still think McDuffie is like the weak link, specifically if you can get him in space and coverage and stuff like that.
So tell me about Edgerrin Cooper. What makes him so good?
He's very fast.
Well, there's a lot of fast. I mean, you've had Oren Burks. That guy's fast. Difference.
I mean, yeah, the edge Q rating is actually a little bit further down than you have it right now because he missed a TFL on like a screen that went for like 25 yards against the Giants.
His Q ratings down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his marketability took a huge hit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that he missed that tackle, man. That must be real rough for you.
I'm sorry too.
All right. I guess he sucks now. That's cool. Is Nate Hobbs why is Nate Hobbs out here so often?
I don't know. Packers fans thought they had a cornerback problem and it was really just a Nate Hobbs problem. Nate Hobbs, if you look at like yards allowed per coverage snap, is like a bottom 8 starter in the NFL. Meanwhile, Carrington Valentine is, I think, 20th. And I think he's like a top 5 graded guy on like PFF. So like,
I don't like that Carrington Valentine is this good. It's kind of upsetting.
Well, it's fine. We're gonna bench him at some point so that we can get Hobbs back in because we paid Hobbs the money. Like this is what we do every year with Carrington. Like he plays really well, and then it's like, well, Eric Stokes is back from injury. Now I know Eric Stokes is like has some good metrics or something with the Raiders right now. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. That doesn't concern me.
Watching the Raiders games. So yeah, like Keyshawn has been like an average corner. Definitely the way more chippy guy. Like he's going to get thrown flags thrown on him and stuff. And then Carrington Valentine has just been good coverage corner, which helps. They don't play a corner in the slot right now because that's kind of what Javon Bullard does. So
yeah,
to see what happens when Nate Hobbs comes back.
Was it a depth issue that had them move Bullard to? That doesn't feel like a natural fit to me.
No, I think they just wanted Bullard on the field because they spent a second round pick for him, and Evan Williams won the safety job. So they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have Bullard do it." And Bullard's done okay.
But they've historically had like a bunch of 3 safety looks. You could just do that, right?
Yeah, but like the 3 safety looks was like Adrian Amos playing like inside linebacker because we didn't have linebackers. Right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Like that. So, but they play Bullard in the nickel spot. Nate Hobbs got a couple of those in like very long down distance type of situations before his injury, but Hobbs isn't going to be back for this game.
Has he transitioned well to quarterback? It just I don't get it.
No, he's been good. Like, he's a really good run fitter, all that stuff. I mean, the thing that really worries me is when you have to man him up against some of these offenses that run the ball really well, right? Like, it's always him in the slot versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that's when he gets cooked on like a crosser, right? That's when it shows up. But for the most part this year, he's been good because teams aren't running the ball well enough that the Packers have to stack the box, play man defense. And then, those teams don't have the slot receivers that can really make Bullard pay. But I've heard about this guy, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison on the Minnesota Vikings. So maybe
they do all right. What about teams that run the ball well, but don't choose to run the ball and instead have a bad quarterback throw it 40 times a game? What do they do in that situation?
Well, you guys like abandoned it last week, right?
They always abandon it. They abandon it every week.
The second half, it was like I was looking at the game log, and you guys had like a decent pass rate on first and second down the first half, and then the second half it's just run. Let's never have JJ McCarthy have an influence on this game until we absolutely must.
Well, the key is to get to the final drive of the fourth quarter, and then he's allowed to play again.
Then it's 9, baby. Then it's 9. Talking JJ, or are we talking 9?
Why did he feel the need to tell people about that? Like, I just... Dude. That's how you know he's one of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL, right? Like, that's a catastrophic PR mistake to tell people you have an alter ego.
I love it. I love this moment in Vikings football that we're in, because it was like all the 9 hype, and it's like, yes, very obviously this is not going to last. You guys think you have your little Tebow mania. The Bears slammed the door on you at the end. You guys,
let's not group all of the Vikings people together on this one.
Okay. Oh, okay. But then, I see people bickering, and they're like, I don't think this is the consensus opinion, to be fair. Mm-hmm. But there's rumblings of like, is this a KOC issue? Is this a Jefferson? Like, is this 100%? And I'm like, this is great, dude. Extend Kwesi forever. Name 9 King. Like, can we just do this every Sunday, dude? I would love this. I'd love this. I actually have a prepared statement to read to you.
Oh, okay.
To Minnesota Vikings Hall of Famer Chris Carter and the Vikings faithful, I want to offer my sincere apology for my recent remark directed toward Mr. Carter, which I referred to him as a clown in response to his comments about Vikings quarterback play. While I will always stand up for someone.
Are you going to read the whole thing, dude? That's a long letter.
My choice of words was completely unacceptable. My reaction was unprofessional, disrespectful, and far below the standards I hold for myself. I allowed my emotions to get the better of me, and in doing so, I disrespected not only Mr. Carter, a Hall of Famer and a legend of the game, but also the Minnesota Vikings community. Chris Carter has earned a level of respect that my comments did not reflect, and for that, I am truly sorry. My intention was to defend someone I deeply care about, but the way I did so was wrong, and I take full responsibility for that. I appreciate the passion for the Vikings faithful, and I hope this apology demonstrates my respect for both Mr. Carter and the fan base. Moving forward, I will strive to communicate with class, professionalism, and respect that the situation and the people involved deserve. Sincerely, Greg Holcomb.
You got to put in the Vikings logo in there, too.
Insert Vikings logo. That I then had to delete because the Vikings definitely told me, we want nothing to do with this. This is weird.
Please take all Viking iconography off of anything you do for the rest of time.
Yes. They said, please do not perceive me.
This is how I found out, A, that he exists, but B, that he was Charlie Kirk's quarterback coach. Do you know about this?
Yep. I knew that shoe was about to drop. Yep. That is also how I learned about that. In his replies.
Yeah, that's exciting. We don't have to talk about that further because this is not that kind of podcast, but hey, take with that and run, anybody who's listening. I did not know Charlie Kirk played quarterback and had a private quarterback coach. That is news to me.
I have only seen the photo of him and Jimmy Garoppolo, like throwing at some.
Yeah, but I just thought like they're both like he's a person or was a person with power, so he had the ability to like talk to people like Jimmy Garoppolo or whatever. But sure, whatever.
You think this the schmoozing of Jimmy Garoppolo at high school quarterback camps? That's the deep state.
That's the deep state at work, right? All right. You usually ask me questions, but like also it's late and you're on our podcast.
You didn't even ask about the safeties, Evan Williams and
Tell me about these safeties. I guess
they're good. Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams are very good.
I've heard
Williams
good
got
things
the interception.
I've heard good things about Xavier McKinney. He might be a top blank safety. Yeah.
Don't throw to either of them. Those guys come down with interceptions.
Oh, don't worry about it. Analysis. If they were bad safeties, they come down with interceptions.
I have. Okay, this is my only question because it is late. Does it make you mad that every chart right now is a JJ McCarthy chart?
I mean, like
every single one of them. Every single one of them. It's bottom left corner. Oh my God, he's so much worse than everyone else.
I don't know. Like, did you read Bryce Rossler's thing over at Sports Info Solutions? He wrote like a little blog about JJ McCarthy.
No, but I probably should have.
Yeah. So his whole deal was like, usually when I'm looking at quarterbacks, I can find a split, right, that they're good at. I can slice and dice the data and they're like a top 3 quarterback or something like that, even if they're the worst quarterback I've ever seen. And he could not manage to find a way to do that for JJ McCarthy. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like it's annoying, I guess, but like you got to understand, Justice. I may have some fidelity to the Vikings and the Vikings doing well, but I have extreme fidelity to my own takes and being right. And and the charts tell me that I was probably right at one point during the season about JJ McCarthy. And so while I would like the Vikings to do well, it does warm my soul a little bit that I was probably right about some stuff.
You might be the only uncorruptible person. You're like, no, I just want to be right. That's it. I don't care. Burn the place down. I want to be right. I'm sticking to my guns.
All right, man. This has been awful. I hate you. Where can people find you?
AcmePackingCompany.com.
Yeah, do you have the injury report piece up yet?
Enough.
Dude, 7 hours late, man. It's never enough.
Jacob's practice today.
Sure.
Did you just learn that from like looking up?
No. I was still up when that stuff happened.
What? Hold on. What?
That came out before.
Okay. And you still could. Okay, whatever, dude. Get out.
Like, I'll take a little nap. Get
out. Get out, dude.
And with that, let's get into the mailbag.
God.
That was amazing. So, in case you hadn't picked up exactly what was being discussed, Justice was scheduled for an interview with Arif about now 8 hours ago, and he just fell asleep.
Yeah, he said he set an alarm on his phone for theoretically an hour-long nap, and then his phone battery died, which is insane to me. Like, the phone's not doing anything for that hour. Like, how low is your battery that it can't be in sleep mode for an hour?
And best of all, it wasn't like, if it's going to just be like sitting alone by itself for 7 hours, dude. Like,
he can't, like, he. Also, the fact that he saw the injury report and did whatever injury report stuff he needed to do, and then took a nap instead of getting onto the podcast at the time that we had agreed upon, is insane.
I loved it. Justice is one of one. What an amazing creature. and we will have him on again later this season. For better, for worse, probably at the expense of my computer and Arif's. Good stuff. Well, let's get into the mailbag.
Sure.
You know what? Let's start light. Kyle Segal asks, so I've been allegedly a bit busy lately. How are the Vikings doing?
They're the talk of the town. The performances have been so notable that they've been given a ton of airtime on NFL Live on ESPN, on First Take, on the NFL Network. They're really making their mark on the league for sure. They've hit some historic records that you haven't really seen any other teams do over the past 10, 15 years. They're kind of challenging our perceptions about what is possible in an NFL game. So, but don't worry about it. You're really busy. I understand that you are dealing with writing a novel, I think, about extra governmental forces, engaging in some kind of fictional exercise about how societies function in the absence of a particular legitimate authority. And that sounds really exciting and engaging. So keep up with that. We'll get you an update kind of later on, probably 2 years from now.
Yeah, I think that's 2 years. Good.
Yeah.
Will Melvin asks, how concerned should the Vikings be about Toyotathon going into week 12? We did cover a bit of that with Justis, but...
Yeah, it's been so someone, I think it was on Reddit, originally found a relationship between when Toyotathon is on and how Jordan Love performs, because he did crap out in the playoffs immediately after Toyotathon ended. So someone kind of put together a joke post on Reddit, and then it happened like again the next year. And so now it's like a thing. His passer rating is 20 points higher during Toyotathon. He throws way fewer interceptions. I haven't looked at his expected points per dropback on Toyotathon, but I assume pretty similar. The Vikings should be extremely concerned about Toyotathon because right now the Bears hilariously, I believe, have control of the division, right? And it would be very funny. I mean, I don't like the Bears, but it would be very funny if the Bears won the NFC North over the Lions and the Packers, right? So for the purposes of preserving the bit, I'm also worried about Toyotathon. I can't have the Packers do well so that they can ruin the Bears somehow winning the NFC North. That's so funny.
I've donated money to the casino this year as a result of losing my Bears under for the first time in years. At this point, you might as well make it worth my while. So
yeah, right. Yeah, you lose by a little, lose by a lot. It's the same amount of money. So
I make like one bet a year, and it's the Bears under. I was looking really good for like a couple of weeks to start the season. I was really excited about it. Yannick Eckhart asks, I just checked McCarthy's completion percentage, and completely unrelated to that, what's the best way to make Justin Jefferson 9 feet tall?
They've got these like leg lengthening surgeries. Kind of crazy that sometimes South Park does something as like a joke, and then a couple years later, a medical professional is like, "Hey, what if we did that actually?" So that's
I don't even think 9 feet tall would be enough. He might need 9.5 to 10.
Well, you gotta understand, he already has really long arms, right? So I think 9 feet is fine, but I understand kind of where you're coming from. The thing is that the more you lengthen the leg, this shouldn't come as a shock, the more brittle the whole deal is. Have you ever seen like people recover from leg lengthening surgery, by the way?
Yes, I have seen something for it. Yeah,
not a remarkably athletic.
My son was obsessed with it for a little while, and
That's not good.
I was not happy that was in his YouTube. Like,
did
you're
your
going to be over 6'5".
Yeah, I was about to say,
stop it.
Did your son know that aside from me, he's probably going to be the tallest person? Actually, okay, no, let's drop the I'm tall bit for a second. Your son was so proud of being almost my height, basically my height. he was over the moon about that. That was hilarious.
Any adult that he is taller than or about to be taller than, he is enjoying pointing it out, and I'm having to like tell him to internalize it.
Yeah, like, hey, man.
It's getting obnoxious. My fiance is shorter than him now, and he's getting to the point where it's becoming obnoxious. Yeah, he has to internalize this, or else karma will cut him off at 5'11".
Right, and then it's suddenly, yeah. And then he's just gonna be one of those guys that lies on Tinder all the time, and everyone gets mad.
Yeah, be like, yeah, my son absolutely has 5'11" energy at that point. Eldon Vasler asks, we know JJ McCarthy reads wide left so he can incorporate all valid criticism from Arif, focus on all human history, Hassan.
Yeah.
So when he is the first active player elected to the Hall of Fame, which gift to Arif will be most appropriate? A life-size gold statue, the Arif Twitter Beef Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
Or just buying Twitter and gifting it to Arif for helping him win 10 straight Super Bowls, multiple MVPs, and 1 Defensive Player of the Year as the starting QB of the Vikings.
I could not think of a greater white elephant gift than buying someone Twitter, which I assume will be something achievable by the time he gets 10 straight Super Bowl appearances with multiple MVPs and a Defensive Player of the Year award, because the value will have tanked so much. And NFL salaries will have grown large enough that, somebody will have a couple $100 million, right? I don't want to be. I've been a moderator of fairly large forums since I was 16. I hate it. It's the worst thing in the world. Anybody who likes being a mod on a forum or a community, an internet community that is larger than 50 people, anyone who likes that experience cannot be trusted. And when the revolution comes, they will need to be put in re-education camps. Not everybody who mods, everybody who enjoys being a mod. That's so not the Twitter one. Please no. But if he becomes a founding subscription owner of Wide Left, which I don't know why it's called the founding tier, if I'm being honest. So there's the monthly, then there's the annual where you get a discount, and then there's like a founders tier where you can pay more, however much you want, and I don't know why, because you could do that like 3 years after it's founded, but that's fine. So if he does that, at, I would say a couple $1 million. It's not that much, right? It's not buying Twitter, right? That's fine. It mentioned me in the Hall of Fame speech. Pay me a couple million a year. We're good.
A chilling vision of things to come. Hitman Stan asks, what is the worst possible career trajectory? Wow, I could speak. I'm not editing. It's a Justice episode, and he swore so many times I've already got edit moments put in here. What is the worst possible career trajectory for McCarthy that would still be worth enduring? Are there statistically awful quarterbacks that have grown into serviceable starters?
So I checked this against the data that I had produced for everybody who has had a poor start over the past 25 years at quarterback, for the piece that I wrote about McCarthy. So I looked at anybody who had over 70 career starts, right? Because that's like, over 5 seasons. I actually didn't calculate how many 5 seasons is. That's probably 80 something, but it's close, right? Let's do 5 times 16. Yeah, that's 80. I do math. And, if you get over 5 seasons, people will think of you as a serviceable starter. Now, I should have realized that at least one of these people has had a lot of starts as a backup, but 70 is fine. So here are the guys with over 70 career starts. Blake Bortles was 78. The 2017 season did a lot for him. Mark Sanchez was 79, which we won't be hearing a lot from him for a while, but that's a guy. Sam Bradford with 83. That's probably the closest out of the group that I've mentioned so far that we would call a serviceable starter. Kyle Orton with 87, who was he the one that slipped on the mat in Buffalo? I know he played in Buffalo. Or that was Matt Castle, I think.
That was Castle.
Yeah. But Kyle Orton, 87 starts. I don't know if I'm putting him there, but Bradford's better, obviously, but I don't know. David Carr. I did not know David Carr had 94 starts. That shocked me. First of all, that he survived that long. Because everyone talks about how he got like the record for most sacks in a season, but like he almost got it again the second season. Like I think that kind of goes under discussed. But yeah, David Carr, 94 starts. I don't know if I'd call him a serviceable starter, but there you go. And then here's another serviceable starter, Ryan Fitzpatrick with 166 starts. Now, mind you, part of that is because he had he started the season for the Bills, I believe in a contract year, with 4 outstanding, amazing games. I believe in the 4th game, he beat the Patriots. Maybe it was maybe a comeback. And so they handed him a hefty contract. And so he just kind of had to keep starting after that for a while. So that's like part of it, right? He like bounced around, then he got a starting contract, and then he went, I think it was at the Buccaneers, and just kind of balled out there for like a little bit, but like in a style where you're like, I don't know how much this can sustain itself. And then Matt Hasselbeck, which I think that's the answer, right? Like, I think the high highs for Sam Bradford and Ryan Fitzpatrick are better than any of the peak performances from Matt Hasselbeck. And he had 193 starts. He started off really poorly, his first couple of games. And he's the kind of guy that'll play you out of draft position, I think, and not much more. So he's kind of at the Andy Dalton line, I would say. Back when Andy Dalton was like playing mediocrely well for the Bengals, like 2011 to 2014, and then 2015 he had an outstanding year, which hurt everybody, I think, and then 2016 he just kind of saw more of that. So I think Hasselbeck is at that line where it's like, well, you don't feel comfortable moving on from that guy, but you're not doing anything with it, right? So I think that's probably the answer. But it was fun to pull the data for this.
Honorable mention to Sage Rosenfels.
Oh, forever, dude.
He's going to be JJ McCarthy. One day is going to be the third man on the quarterback depth chart, watching, I'd say Aaron Rodgers, but watching Jordan Love attempt to play for Chicago,
right?
And he's gonna be the third man on that roster. It'll be great. Ferris Bueller, who, by the way, I did send a baby onesie to. So I saw the receipt, because I get the Norse Code email gets the notification for anytime something happens at the store. So yeah, I did send off the baby onesie. He said it was a hilariously dark moment that he enjoyed, in particular that the conversation we had. So Ferris Bueller and his very real child asked, most of the concerns I heard about McCarthy before the draft were all about his throwing mechanics, in particular his footwork. The open plan last year was to have McCarthy sit the entire year while refining those mechanics. With the injury last year, did McCarthy lose the opportunity to develop them properly? That sounds like one possible explanation for why he regresses as the game goes on.
I wouldn't say that that's necessarily the case, because he was essentially active for like OTAs and stuff like that, but you do lose reps to do that, right? So in some sense, yes. And I would imagine that there's also some likelihood or possibility that the injury kind of reset it, right? Because the whole idea behind training and instilling quarterback mechanics is that it becomes part of muscle memory. This is one of the weird, I'm just going to talk about this. I'm going to pull it up. But there's like a McCarthy quote that went around today that people got like really weird about. Like they're like, oh my God, we're so cooked. And he was just kind of describing like a true thing. Let's see if I can find it, because I quote tweeted about it. But he essentially talked about rewiring neural pathways, right? And like that's the thing that happens. That is what learning a new quarterback mechanic is. Where is it? Where did it go? Man. Yeah. Coming in here, I was taught how to play quarterback a very different way. It's really hard. You're rewiring neurological pathways, and that's not something that happens overnight. And he's like, right. Like, I don't know like why people are so upset about that quote. He's correct. And yeah, I think that an injury probably diminishes the progress that you've made towards establishing those kind of preconditioned neural pathways. Like think about it like I guess is maybe not a great example to instill confidence, but it's the first one that came to mind, is like a pre-delegated read on a throw, except it's a good thing, right? A quarterback will see a coverage pre-snap, snap the ball, throw the ball where he thinks it should go without checking on the coverage, right? And, often that's like bad. We don't like when quarterbacks do that. But for quarterback mechanics, it's like a really good thing. It's operating. What happens, from my understanding, is that your brain is beginning this whole process of like a familiar movement pattern, and it will just kind of execute those movement patterns without much active or conscious delegation from your mind, right? And that requires establishing that pattern, which takes a very, very long time. But it is like why you hit a natural typing speed, right? Like that's kind of what that is. You're not thinking about where the keys are on the keyboard. Very similar, I think, right? But it takes a while to get, if you're typing a lot and you want to type with good typing mechanics, it takes a while to do that if you're not going to commit to just kind of hunting and pecking as you type. I think it's very similar. So I do think it is possible that if you're learning to type and then suddenly you break your hand and you can't type, you're probably going to have to restart that learning process. So I think that's closer to what happened. But he did have a lot of time. He did have a significant chunk of the offseason where he was healthy enough to rehab and instill those quarterback mechanics. But maybe it did kind of reset things a little bit. But I think the explanation for why he regresses as the game goes on is essentially related to that, right? Is essentially that, right? That he has an old pattern, a movement pattern embedded into the way that he plays. And he goes to that when he's fatigued and doesn't have the ability to consciously focus on that while he's focusing on these other things, while he's in pain, stuff like that. We talked about this in the previous 2-3 episodes, but I think that's it. Yeah.
Next question is from Bring Ingram Back, who asks, I think we've outplayed the athletic Rex Grossman comparison, but is Caleb Williams just a more athletic Jay Cutler?
That would be very funny. No. And the reason is because if you walk into a bathroom, I promise this goes somewhere. If you walk into a bathroom and you see JJ McCarthy at a urinal stall, first of all, he will not be smoking a cigarette. So already illusion broken. Second, if you say that you're excited to see him, JJ McCarthy will probably just engage you, as odd as it is to engage with someone in a bathroom, instead of just saying, don't care. Which my understanding, that is a true story. I will not be fact checking that.
Did you read the story about Jay Cutler getting drunk and like breaking into a teammate's home in order to make sure he made it to workouts the next morning?
Tell me.
Oh my God.
I thought you were going to tell me about the time he got trapped on an island because of COVID, and that led to a divorce.
Well, if you're trapped on an island and it led to divorce, there were things that sent you to that island that were probably things.
Well, no, he was on vacation, and then the COVID restrictions hit, and so he was trapped on a resort with his wife, which I guess was bad for him.
So I'm trying to pull it up right now, because it was a podcast that featured a former teammate. Here we go.
By the way,
Kevin
speaking of Jay Cutler and podcasts, he had one, I believe, right?
Briefly? He did have one. We were joking about doing a spin-off show where we were just reacting.
Yeah, and the issue with that is that you can have all of the most amazing content stories in the world. There's no limit to the amount of stories Jay Cutler would be able to tell about his life and his ex-wife's life. But you have to be good at telling stories and be engaging and like be able to produce content. And he is just not.
No, he doesn't like people.
Yeah.
Which has kind of been the knock on him.
Yeah, that's kind of the deal, actually.
He's not a leader of men because he doesn't like men. Like,
I understand that, but like he's being put into positions where that's kind of a job requirement.
Yeah. So I'll send you the link here. It's a 2-minute and 58-second clip from a podcast. The story is Jay Cutler went out drinking with the Bears until about 2 a.m. and everyone's cars got home. And then someone broke into Kyle Long's house at 6 in the morning. It was Jay Cutler making sure he was going to get to the team workout in the morning. And the line that he said to Kyle Long was, "Hey, buddy, just making sure we're ready to roll."
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
Oh, of course, Kevin Clark got that story. That's perfect.
And it's just an absolute legend. Let's go to, speaking of crime, let's go to Football's Misandrous Niche, who asks, for Arif's Real Football Content Corner, what is the funniest football player crime?
So I assume you mean in the criminal sense and not like a crime against the game of football or whatever. Two immediately popped to mind, and they were so funny that I just figured good enough. Like, I didn't have to like Google it or think about it too hard. Like, I'm sure if you were like, actually, it was really funny that Sam Hurd was the ringleader of an interstate cocaine crime ring while he was just a member of the Dallas Cowboys. I wouldn't disagree with you, right? But like, these two are pretty funny. One, I think a lot of people around the NFL or just know. It's the time Plaxico Perez brought an unlicensed firearm with him into a club, and it was just kind of like it wasn't in his pocket. It was like he had tucked it into the band of his sweatpants, which
is also to say he wore sweatpants to the club.
Yeah, there's like a lot of things here, right? Like, one, you wore sweatpants to the club. Two, I understand like maybe, well, I don't understand it at all. I think it's a bad practice. But like, if you're going to do it, like jeans make a lot of sense to me if you're going to tuck a gun into a waistband, right? Like, they're relatively inflexible. If they're tight, they'll hold it to the whatever. Like, don't do it. But if you're going to, that would be the thing. But like sweatpants, that feels way too dangerous. And then the third part of the story, obviously, is that he shot himself in the leg. That's hilarious because he survived, right? Otherwise, it'd just be like, oh my God. I mean, a little funny, but like now it's super funny because he's fine. That's insane and hilarious. Second, I mean, Ontario Smith and the Wizinator, right? He got caught.
Yeah, Ontario Smith has to be right near the top of the list.
He tried treating a drug test with a fake penis full of someone else's that's so funny, dude. And he had to color match it. That's so good.
Yeah, that's absolutely up there. Let's go to JJ McDonald. And you know what? We're gonna go off the rails. This episode it's time. We're going off the rails. JJ McDonald asks, for a Reef's passive aggressive corner, somebody at my job recently started bringing a Cybertruck to work, and I've made it my mission to park next to them in the most inconvenient ways as I can. However, recently it hit me that this might be someone I work with, and this car was built for snitches. What is the best way for me to continue inconveniencing this coworker while not knowing who they are and without giving them a cause that they can take to HR?
All right. So, I mean, the reason that it's built for snitches is because it has cameras all around it. And specifically, the cameras activate with proximity. And so it'll record like vandals and stuff like that, which has turned out to be quite convenient for Cybertruck owners because for some reason the car gets vandalized a lot. I don't know why that is. Let's not interrogate that. This one was kind of a tough one for me to kind of figure out, right? Because you've got the cameras, you want to make sure that you're not caught by HR. The aggressive thing is to pay children in the area to egg the car and stuff like that. But I would think like, here's one possibility, right? If it's being parked in, let's say, an office park, and the office park has like lawn care and stuff like that. Advocating to install a sprinkler system, I think, for the lawns would, I think, do a lot because they are not rust proof and they are not waterproof. And they sometimes recommend that you don't put water on them, even though they also have instructions for how to go through a car wash. But then if you go through the car wash and follow the instructions and it starts malfunctioning, they blame you for having gone through a car wash, which like is the expectation that you never wash the car because they are just pure stainless steel panels without paint on them. And so if a bird poops on them, that's acidic. Bird poop is acidic. And so it'll just start corroding them. So there's like not a ton going on protection wise for these things. So advocating for good lawn care of the office park, to me seems like probably the solution here, so that the sprinkler system kind of always catches the Cybertruck. You're not implicated in any of that. And you might even be lauded at the office for trying to improve kind of the atmosphere of the work environment around you.
I'm not entirely sure we can go more than one episode without you suggesting that you hire children.
Okay, I didn't think that one through. I'm going to be honest, but I just feel like that's like a tried and true. We don't think about that as child labor. Like since the '80s, we've been seeing people pay children to prank other people they don't like. That's not labor. That's tradition. That's a good line that will never come back to bite me, I think.
I'm pretty confident that's what the governor of Arkansas said when she was signing the bill to repeal the work to make it so that child labor was legal again.
But the difference is she's wrong. That's the difference. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is wrong. I will stand on that one.
I don't care who on this podcast I offend. I was going to suggest make a homemade EMP and like.
But that's not like passive aggressive, right? Like that's the issue I have with this question. It's like all of the things that are great ideas aren't passive aggressive. I like the EMP idea, but you know.
Just ride that up. Just leave it. It'll be fine. Let's get to hire children again. Room Temperature, who asks, for Reef's Trash Meat Corner. Here it is, folks. I am refusing to go to Thanksgiving dinner due to just about everything. What meal should I make for myself instead? Arif, educate the people as to what your feelings are about the turkeys for those who are uninitiated.
Yeah, so I've long said that turkey is a trash meat. I've been vindicated time and time again as more and more people kind of understand that they have more choices available to them and critically evaluate what it is they're even trying to eat at Thanksgiving. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people see and hear me say that turkey is a trash meat, and they think I mean that it is impossible to make turkey taste good. I have never said it is impossible to make turkey taste good. I've had good turkey. A lot of people try to convince me that my take is wrong by finding ways to make sure that I have good turkey. I've made good turkey. That's the thing. The problem with turkey is that it is in nearly the lowest rung of meat, certainly the lowest rung of easily and commercially available meats in terms of its ability to provide taste, in terms of its ability to provide a good texture, in terms of anything that you want meat to be. It doesn't do very well. And so the amount of effort that you put into making turkey taste good will always be better spent putting into almost any other meat and making that taste good, because the end product will be better. Not only that, a lot of people are like, well, you just haven't had good turkey because it's hard to make taste good. That's my point. Right? Like there's such a very narrow range of options available to you and so little margin for error on making turkey taste good that people have invented completely new ways to cook this thing that it turns out when you apply to other meats actually works out really well. For example, spatchcocking the bird, which is when you don't roast it whole, you actually like split it down, you cut half of it and you split it down the middle and you weigh it down so it's all splayed out so it gets more evenly cooked so it doesn't dry out, because turkey naturally dries out. And the taste isn't even worth it. Like if you can make it moist, the taste isn't even worth it. And the mechanics it takes to make sure that you've got moist dark meat, moist white meat, and a crispy skin are just so absurd that people are inventing new turkey contraptions and devices. And we are wasting society's intellectual capital and potential by trying to solve this turkey problem and not trying to solve cancer. Like I feel like if we just put all of that effort into making turkey taste good, into literally anything remotely positive for society, we would be so much better off. I just put that effort into education, man. The kids can't read anymore, right? Like, what are we doing trying to invent a better roasting pan? That's insane. So, turkey is a trash meat. It's degrading to society, offensive that we would even consider it a core national holiday tradition. I would suggest if you've got the cash for it, duck. And if you don't, totally fine. Times are tough. And even if times weren't tough, Doesn't have to be your fault that you're in a spot where it might be a little bit more difficult to spend up for duck, which I understand is a very expensive proposition. Roast chicken is phenomenal. It's fantastic. I think ham is actually quite underrated because it's so cheap. People just think of ham as not that good, but you can make ham outstanding. And so I think that that's a really good option. But there's so many options available to you. Even just roast chuck, slow braised chuck, even just slow roasted chuck is so much better than turkey. I just like beef bourguignon, not that expensive, sounds fancy, isn't. It could taste so good. It could taste so good. And you can put as much effort as you want into something like a beef burgundy. And the more effort you put in, the more you get out. It's like, oh, did you saute the pearl onions beforehand? Well, you get a little bit more out of the dish. But you don't have to in order to make it taste good. And there are some conveniences that actually do make it taste good. Using frozen peas already elevates the dish more than non-frozen, but fresh peas, right? Even frozen carrot and pea medley mixes that people always like look down on. That's a great addition to a slow cooked beef burgundy. You put it in at the right time. It's fantastic. There's so many better dishes you could be making with a lot less effort than turkey.
Well, I hope that provided you with the answer, room temperature. Let's go to Arif's Tormentor, who asked for Arif's Culinary Corner. We're having a small Thanksgiving this year due to some scheduling issues. We are going to make a ham as normal and some wild turkey my wife harvested earlier this year. How do we bring the best out of the natural flavor of turkey without the gaminess of unprocessed animal protein?
Well, you already have it, right? So I can't convince you out of it. And it sounds like you're making a good meat too. So you might as well have some fun experimenting with wild turkey. Now, almost every wild animal, and I bet turkey is no different, will be even leaner than the farmed version. And so you're going to have a moisture retention problem with this. And turkey is already a very dry meat. So there are like a couple of things you could do if you really, really wanted to roast turkey. I think people kind of overstate the effect on quality it has to put like butter underneath the skin of chicken or underneath the skin of turkey as you're roasting it. It tends not to get as much as you want because it's really difficult for the fat to penetrate. That is something you might want to try here just in general because there's just very little fat in a wild turkey. But I would say even just injecting fat directly into it is probably going to help you out a lot. You absolutely, like every kind of roast meat, but especially turkey, you will want to dry brine beforehand. You could wet brine, but you're going to lose a lot of flavor when you get that additional moisture out of wet brining. Dry brine it beforehand, which is to say you heavily salt it and a day beforehand or more, put it in the fridge for the skin to dry out. It'll actually lead to better moisture retention. But you will want to make sure that when you salt it, you salt both the skin and underneath the skin so that it penetrates into the meat. You could spatchcock it, but here's the thing. Roasting is probably your least helpful solution here. I think, first of all, braising it and putting it into a wild turkey, wild rice soup sounds way better than roasting it. I absolutely think that. And braising in general is probably the solution here. So you'll always have some kind of or some amount of moisture available. Some people say that smoked turkey is really phenomenal, and it is better than a lot of roast turkey. But this one you got to be so careful with because of the low moisture and the low fat that you will absolutely need to salt it beforehand, both under the skin and over the skin, and probably have ready basting options available to you in the form of like chicken broth and butter, or even like a lot of people will use like Dr. Pepper a little bit in moisture retention and stuff like that. But like whatever you choose, you will have to make sure that you really maximize the effort you put into moisture retention, which is why I think like a braised wild turkey put into a wild turkey and wild rice soup might actually be a better solution here.
Next question is going to be from Francis Ford Copium, who asks, for Arif's Winning Therapy Corner.
Great. Okay.
I once had a session, and then the next day was contacted by their assistant and dropped, only to find out later that my therapist passed away soon after. They were elderly and not in great health, but do I win as I was likely their last client?
I can't see any reason that this isn't true, James. It feels obvious that you've won, right? If you were the last client, like, because you now get to tell your next therapist, my problems are so severe that instead of dealing with them, my therapist decided to enter another mortal plane. That's incredible.
I think that for that line alone, I think you have to qualify as the victor here.
Yeah.
Deez asks for a Reef's gift giving / sumo corner.
Okay.
I don't like the materialism that comes with Christmas and haven't asked for a gift in over 20 years. However, my family insists on buying me crap each year that is better off going into the landfill, as I have enough stuff already. I know it's their love language, but it drives me nuts. I tell them to donate to an animal shelter in my name or buy clothes from a local women's or a homeless shelter, but that only goes so far. How can I get them to stop without force? Also, what sumo-related gift should they buy me?
Okay, first of all, you're such a good person. You wanted to hear that, right?
Not just for the whole donate thing, but for bringing sumo into everyone's lives.
Okay, so if gift giving is their love language, you need to make sure that they have opportunities to buy you meaningful gifts. Like, I know you don't like receiving gifts, and it sounds like it's very important for them to give good gifts, right? Or to give gifts. And if that's like something that is really core to the way they want to interact with you and express their love for you, it's much easier. I mean, you've been fighting with this for 20 years. At this point, you should come to the conclusion it's much easier to kind of produce meaningful gifts for you instead of trying to find ways. Like, I think that they really enjoy, the opportunity to present something physical to you. You unwrap it, find out what it is. And so for that, I think that, like, I don't know specifically what you like, so I can't tell you for sure, but come up with a list of your own interests, the things that you like to do. And when they ask you, right, or when it comes close to Christmas gift buying time, which is now, just say, hey, I know that you've been trying to get me gifts, and I've always been kind of hesitant to receive gifts, but I thought, because it's been so difficult to be on the same page, here's a bunch of stuff that I've really enjoyed over the past couple of years. Maybe this will kind of inspire you to get a gift that I think we'll all be happy with, or something like that. Choose whatever language works for your loved ones, right? Because I think this donation in your name thing is just not resonating with them. Sumo related gifts. If you go to bigsumofan.com, which I did not find immediately by typing in sumo gifts into Google, it seems like they have these prints that they make for every banzuke. And so they have all of the wrestlers, and it looks pretty lore accurate. All the wrestlers and referees from each banzuke. And so there's a 2025 November picture banzuke of just a wall print that looks really cool, right? So if there's one contest that you've really enjoyed, or one tournament that you really enjoyed, maybe get a picture from that tournament. This one does have some backlogs of previous tournaments. There's sumo trading cards. There's the tape that they have to use. You can find that. You could get a subscription to a sumo magazine. That's possible. So I don't know, man. It feels like there's a sumo calendar for 2026. It feels like there's a bunch of options here for you.
Let's go to our next question, which is from Room Temperature, who asks, for Reef's coffin corner, is it possible to fit 3 people in a coffin to be buried after everyone dies? Is it legal?
What do you mean everyone? Who are the 3? Is there lore in the Discord, or the 2? I mean, 3 of us with Dusty dying. Is that?
I would have to assume that would have something to do with it.
Okay, well, because Dusty is alive and not currently in a coffin, that is a relevant question for sure. Why would it be illegal? Is there I don't understand why that would be. I guess why is not a really good question, right? Because a bunch of stuff's illegal that doesn't make sense. But I just feel like you should be able to do that. I would contact a funeral home and be like, hey, so our plan is we're all co-hosts on this podcast, and we think it would be a great idea if we all were buried in the same coffin. Actually, a funeral home is probably going to just try to upcharge you and deny you. So probably just get cremated and then be put into a crate and call that a coffin is maybe the best way to do that.
Also an option.
Yeah.
Have I ever told? I am asking you a question about something I've said on a podcast. I realize this is
great.
Errand before I do it. However, have I ever told the story of when the family showed up to my ex-wife's work with someone in the truck?
For context, she's a mortician.
Was.
Oh no! Right? Yeah. I don't recall this story, so you might as well tell it.
So I happened to have been at my ex-wife's work at the time, and there was like we were in a back room talking for a little bit. I think I dropped off something for her, and at the time, it was fairly that office was fairly close to like where you would go into the funeral home for like negotiating price, talking about hey, this is the service we want, that sort of thing. So like the office was like connected to the room. And somebody had come in and asked, hey, weren't sure exactly who we needed to talk to about this, but we have a drop off. And the office manager, a very lovely mid-60s year old woman, went, I'm sorry, you have a drop off? And apparently this truck had come in from out of town. Something had happened to Grandma, and they put her in the back of the truck. It's winter out, by the way, and there was a tarp, and they brought her into town to the funeral home because they thought that's how that worked.
Right, of course.
Spoiler alert, you can't do a drop-off at the funeral home like that. It doesn't work. The coroner has to be involved, and for the coroner to be involved, the cops usually also have to show up for it. There were 3 people in the front of this truck when it had come in. We're hearing all of this through the wall and the open door between the 2 offices. And it's not phasing the other 2 people in the little mini office I was in, and I'll tell you why in a second. But so they're arguing about trying to drop off Grandma, and it's not working. And finally, she says, "Well, look, I have to call the cops. I have to call the cops. I have to call the coroner in order to do this. We can't take this. That you have to go to it has to go to the hospital, be like looked at, and then released that
Right.
way."
Yeah.
So, well, that's going to be a problem. So, but I don't care. I have to call. So she makes the call. And when the cops came, one of the guys in the truck ran for it.
What?
It's winter. And he just bolted into the graveyard, which is right behind the funeral home that this has happened at. So he just bolts for it. He just runs, presumably with an active warrant or something. And so the cops come and they're dealing with the situation, and I'm talking with the other people because I'm laughing, I'm losing my mind, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, this happens like once a year."
This happens once a year.
Somebody tries to drop off somebody, and we have to call the cops on them. Like, turns out you need a license to transport a body across state lines. Who knew?
Did the guy know that when he bolted? Like, I just
know that I
this is the crime I am fleeing for, which is transporting a body across state lines.
I assume it was for something dumb, something else. And based on the description of him, it may have involved his lack of teeth.
Right. Okay. Got it.
But who's to say?
Right.
So,
which of course you are suggesting he got into a fight, and in the fight got his teeth punched out. Obviously, that's the only interpretation of what you could have just said. Yeah,
he got his teeth punched out, and that's a crystal clear picture.
Great, good. We're on the same page.
Of what I am saying. Let's go to Nolan. Let's go to Nolan Kaler, who asks for North Code. How do Americans plan to make up for the injustice of Machine Gun Kelly's entourage watching an NFL game at the same time he was performing at the Grey Cup halftime show?
Wait, did that happen? Did his entourage watch the NFL?
Apparently, yes.
That's hilarious. But also, please stop asking me Machine Gun Kelly related questions. He's persona non grata in the Norse Code universe.
Yeah, like he's in too deep.
Yeah. Tyler Fornes is a huge CFL fan for whatever reason, and I'm in a group chat with him, right? And so he brings up the Machine Gun Kelly's performing at the halftime of the Grey Cup, and I was like, "Hey man, I just don't bring up this guy And, as part of the bit, right? I was like, the history, is too much. And other people in the group chat were like, what? And I was like, wait, you don't remember? I got into a Twitter beef with, beef is there wasn't a ton of back and forth, but like, I got into a Twitter fight with Machine Gun Kelly. And they were like, what? and I was like, oh yeah, no, that is weird, actually. That is a very unusual thing to have happened to someone. And so I had to like send the link to the thing, and I was like, hey man, how'd you forget about this? You responded to it. Here's your tweet.
Amazing. How do we make up for the injustice? Tim Hortons gift cards.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
QB1 Cam Akers asks, for Arif's family dynamics corner, given that it is well established that the point of relationships is to win.
It is not. The point of therapy is to win. It is not the point of relationships to win.
It's reasonable to presume the point of being in a family is to also win, which would be accomplished by having the highest net scores across all relationships in my family. With this in mind, I'm in the process of
head-to-head points.
I'm in the process of trying to spur a comeback because my toddler is a massive mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
My comeback started on a recent vacation when he consistently made mom get out of the pool because he wanted to swim with me.
Oh, wow.
How many points did I gain in my relationship with my son? And did I receive an increase in my net family score? Or did the points scored with him get offset by my wife getting to snuggle my infant daughter in a lounge chair while I swam with the toddler?
This is a pretty complex question. So first of all, I reject the premise. Second, were I to not reject the premise, I would say that it's not offset by the snuggling. The snuggling does diminish the blow. It blunts the net loss that your wife took, for sure, 100%. Right? That's adorable. But the toddler's more likely to remember this, I would say, of the two things. So I think you did net gain points. I don't know what the point system your family uses, so I can't say how many points you gained, relatively speaking. But I feel like that's got to be like 3 touchdowns, right? Like that's pretty great. It's an active and vocal rejection of one parent for the other. The key here, though, is that you're playing a high-risk game in trying to curry favor with the toddler because the short-term incentives really work against your long-term incentives here. Because if you keep on trying to do things to gain favor with the kid, eventually you're going to run into territory where you spoil the kid. And the outcome of a spoiled kid is a huge net loss if you're the reason the kid is spoiled, right? And that's a huge L relative to anything else that happened up until that point. So you have to be really judicious and careful about how you rack up points when it involves the kids. But it feels like this particular instance doesn't feel like it runs that risk. So this is virtually free points for you.
Let's go to my 5-year-old plans to replace me, who asks, question for Arif's haters corner.
Oh, okay. Finally, a corner I like.
I saw on Blue Sky that you were getting a bunch of flack and negative comments, but instead of them focusing on your child labor, whereabouts on January 6th, visits to private islands, etc.
Oh, okay, no, hold on. What do you? That's new lore. You can't just do that. That's none of those things.
Hold on. The rest of the question is they were mad at you for an article you wrote about why JJ McCarthy was bad. One specifically saying that that's not your job as a sports writer.
They did say that.
Please take 2 to 3 minutes to lambast your critics for being fools and why they suck. No doxing, though.
Okay, but no, hold on. I have to address the January 6th stuff.
It's not part of the question that he's asking you to address.
It's in the question text. It's
not what he's asking. What he's asking you to do.
The most Republican member of the podcast is James. We got to ask him where he was on January 6th. I've never visited a private island. This is new lore. There's nothing that has come up in any question that has even suggested anything of note related to that. Plus, the emails are public record, so you could just search for my name. They're not there. So you don't got to worry about it.
For the record, January 6th, I was at work working on security cameras, literally on camera.
Oh, you were modifying security cameras on January 6th. Interesting, James. Curious.
Installing, not modifying.
That's a form of modification I ever saw it. Wow, you were securing the locations of security cameras on January 6th? That's crazy work. Anyway,
2,000 miles away from where that was happening.
The person who said that it was not my job to evaluate players ended up also saying that there is no way to tell which quarterbacks are good. And let me be clear, he wasn't, because someone else started arguing with him. He wasn't saying there's no way to determine beforehand which quarterbacks will be good, which is not quite true, but much more reasonable. He was saying you don't know which quarterbacks are good right now. Like, we have no context for being able to understand that Tom Brady had a successful career and like Blake Bortles didn't. Like, that's and the person who was arguing with him was initially engaging with him at the much more reasonable, if still incorrect, prior point, right? Which and he responded with like, Tom Brady was a 6th round pick, Tony Romo was undrafted, and he's like, yeah, I understand that, but like you can figure out who's good, especially once they start playing in the NFL. And he said, well, winning is so complicated. There's so many factors you can't even tell. And it's like, that's crazy. Because teams have strong opinions about which quarterbacks are good. Defensive players have they understand that football is like a team sport. And within that, some players are good and some are not. And like the Denver Broncos very much understood that Peyton Manning was a good quarterback when they offered him a ton of money. So too with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. Like, teams have to make decisions about which quarterbacks are good because they will pay the good ones and they will not pay the bad ones. This is crazy. But he also was just like, you should not talk about players because it's too difficult. And like, first, have you never done anything challenging in your life? I think that's crazy that you just refuse to do anything because it's difficult. But like, second, why are you following a sports writer if you don't want sports writers to talk about players? Like, you can just watch the games if you want and then not interact with a sports writer. That's fine. But like when you watch a game and a big play happens, are you just like, wow, that's so totally random that happened? I have no context for why that would happen. Why is it that when Tom Brady threw to Mike Evans for 60 yards and scored a touchdown, that evokes a memory of that happening multiple times before? I will not interrogate or evaluate that. Like, I don't, when you watch a game and something happens, do you just refuse to understand the context in which it happened? I'm so lost how you enjoy a sport if you think it is impossible for someone to be good or bad. Do you think that like every player is random? Like, I'm so confused. So just watch movies, man, unless you think actors can't be good or bad. And then I don't know what to tell you.
Speaking of, let's end this episode with question for Arif's Drew Barrymore filmography.
Oh, wow. I did
corner.
not see that coming, actually.
My wife was shocked that I'd never seen Ever After, a Cinderella story. And after watching it, was upset that I thought it was bad to okay, not great or magnificent like she claimed. And I believe Drew isn't a good actress. Please explain to my wife why I am correct.
Oh, hold on. What? Okay, so first, I actually haven't seen Ever After, but the reviews on this seem extremely positive. I might watch it after this, actually.
I have had to see it before. I have watched it before.
Had to see it suggests that you did not enjoy the experience.
I did. The relationship wasn't. I think that was a second date.
That was a second date? Okay.
Second or a third date, and no, there was not a follow up after that.
So, so
I'm not blaming Drew Barrymore on why that relationship didn't work out, but she didn't help.
But she didn't. Okay, but like, it sounds like you may have skewed your evaluation of the movie based off of the experience that you had during it.
I will say I've never watched it a second time.
Okay. So it seems like the broad consensus of critics is that this is generally quite a good movie. Audiences polled gave the film an A grade. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars. It has a 91% approval on Rotten Tomato, which like that's like a more of a success rate than it is a weighted grade. But like that's, average rating of 7.6 out of 10. Pretty good movie, high floor, low ceiling, it sounds like, based off of the way these reviews are working. So it sounds like you're generally in the wrong. Now, obviously, art is subjective and open to interpretation, and there's a lot of things that a lot of people like that I don't like. I can't think of any movies off the top of my head. But on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of people don't like that I do like. Speed Racer is a great movie. That movie rules, and it's genuinely good. So that's like, people will have that opinion, right? Drew Barrymore not being a good... That's never been my experience. I will say... What seems to happen with Drew Barrymore is that she gets cast into very similar roles very often. And so we don't have a lot of opportunities to see her kind of stretch her range. And so it might be difficult, but I just didn't have that understanding of Drew Barrymore. In the truly awful film 50 First Dates, she was probably the only good performance.
You're telling me that oh god, what's his name? Rob Schneider didn't steal the movie with his attempt at whatever the hell that was?
Yeah, or Adam Sandler. Yeah. What? Okay, the restaurant owner, I think, probably put in a good performance too, but that's kind of it. The brother, was that Sean Astin? Is that his name? Brother wasn't good, but I thought Drew was fine, and I thought she was great in The Wedding Singer. I thought she was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think probably my 5-year-old plans to replace me might not be on the same page as most people when it comes to movie criticism.
I think I'm going to agree with you there, but let's I was in such a good mood until 50 First Dates got brought up, and then,
did you have a different
no, I hate that movie.
It's a truly odd. I hate the premise. First of all, it's evil, but no, it's a bad movie for sure.
Yeah, I've just been subjected to it too many times. So,
well, that's thematically appropriate, right?
Kind of, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it. And with that, that is going to be the end of this episode of Norse Code. We hope you have enjoyed it. Arif, what do you have to plug?
So I wrote, as the question suggested, I wrote a very long piece, 4,500 words, something like that, on J.J. McCarthy. Now, I've written a couple of pieces, right, about McCarthy, like, what do we know after 4 games? What do you know after 5 games? It can sound like they're very similar and pretty boring pieces, but the 4-game sample piece was really just about if it is possible to know anything. The 5-game sample piece is just more about the ways that we can understand quarterback trajectories using a 25-year sample of quarterbacks within their first 5 starts and understanding the direction with which their careers have progressed and what has kind of worked and what hasn't worked after we get this much information about those quarterbacks. And there was a very long data discussion about it, which wasn't present in the previous piece. And then there's also a very long discussion about quarterback mechanics and in particular the weaknesses that are holding McCarthy back. I don't spend a ton of time on his strengths because A, I think his strengths are kind of obvious, but B, because the strengths cannot express themselves in an environment where the weaknesses are so present and overwhelming. And so it's kind of like, what can be fixed? What should be fixed? Why are these problems? It's a super well-received piece. I think that a lot of people who haven't read it yet would very much enjoy it. So that's over at Wide Left. I also got Jason B. Hirschhorn from The Leap, which is a Packers Substack, to guest post and cross post his piece about the problems of the Packers offense to provide a preview for the Vikings game against the Packers. That's over at Wide Left. You'll enjoy all of that.
Well, that is going to be it for this episode of Norse Code. We hope you have enjoyed it. For Arif and Justis, in defiance of God's will,
somehow Justis returned.
We originally were going to do we're going to ask the questions for Justis, and Sumer Brain was just going to provide the answers. We even asked OpenAI for an acronym for Justis.
Yeah.
In order to say that we had Justis on the show.
Yeah, to prepare for it, I did start fighting with Sumer Brain again. I asked it a question and the answer was so deeply unsatisfying that I was like, what in the world? So we went back and forth, and then it just stopped answering, which was, I think, very bratty behavior, especially for an LLM. But don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll ignore that it's getting sentient and horny. Also the tagline of Arif's dating profile, and
sentient and horny.
And we will see you next. That's not going to be the sign off. I cannot let that be the sign off. Just remember, kids, you never want to go double in Gakwe or be sentient and horny. And we'll see you next week.
Norse Code is the largest and only division of Norse Code LLC. You can find Norse Code on the Daily Norseman, SB Nation's Vikings blog at dailynorseman.com. You can also find it on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and wherever fine podcasts are aggregated. Our Vikings blogger extraordinaire and generally useful human is Arif Hassan of... and he can be found on Twitter at Arif Hassan NFL. I am your producer and host, and my name is James Pagashnik. You can find me at the show's official Twitter feed at NorseCodeDN or at my personal account at Big Mono. If you'd like to donate a few bucks to the show, you can do so in a couple of different ways. You can go to patreon.com/NorseCode and donate there. For $3.50 a month, you get bonus material and more. You can also go to paypal.me/NorseCode for a one-time donation, or you can go to norsecode.threadless.com and pick up some Norse Code merch. Any questions or comments that cannot fit in a tweet can be sent to norsecodepodcast@gmail.com. On behalf of the Norse Code staff, we thank you so much for listening.
Our formula is this.
All things are possible through the power of Ben DiNucci.